Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Nisi. I just want to jump on really quick. Today is Saturday, July the 20th, and it's been maybe a week and a half uh, since I've been on. And I just wanted to come on and just give my humble thanks to everyone who called and checked on myself and my family during Hurricane Beryl. The last time I did a video, I think it was the day before Beryl hit, right? So we did have some trees that fell on our house, three trees. I am thankful that the damage wasn't as destructive as it could have been around us. We had seven trees total that fell. Three fell in our home. And my neighbors, there were about 17 people within the neighborhood who had suffered severe damage. And so, it's a very humbling experience when you have to go through something like that. Um, I love the community that we live in. It's a small area, small country kind of field town, and we have wonderful neighbors that live around us, and so I'm very thankful for that. I I used the time that we had without power to regroup and redirect and reset. I read a lot, crocheted some, spent quality time with my spouse, and we were able to reconnect without having these scrying mirrors and devices. We were off grid for 6 days with no power. It was very humbling, 84 degrees, cold showers. I highly recommend everyone to take a cold shower once a day to wake you up and to create stem cell production, right? You can look that up. Um, I wanted to come on here quickly and just cover a couple of things. I have a couple of chapters left in this book. I think three chapters. It's called The Last of the Tartarians, a true story in at least one of the parallel universes. Um, the author says Gloria is Gloria and Nady is nobody in Spanish. Not my real name. Okay. I do not want to tell you about me, but that does say a lot. I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am either. I live many lives, mainly in the cracks between two worlds. At this moment, I am still Alice, working towards being Animanesia. This is my second book and the first novel. My first one being The Conversations with Nobody. I have a poetry website. You can contact me there if you ever fancy having a conversation with this nobody. In the front of the book, in the intro, this is fiction. So please do not fact check. Please don't fact check me. I make no pretense that this is our alternate history. It is just one of the many possibilities for you to consider. If you think it's beyond belief, you better believe it. Reality is often stranger than fiction. And fiction could be reality in disguise, or the result of reality breaking out of its jail and enter our surreal world through the crack between two worlds. There is a big world out there, or many worlds. Take off the blinker they put on you from birth. Broaden your view, expand your horizon, stretch your imagination, and go where no man has gone before. The more you question, the more answers you will get. They may not be the right answers, but there will be more answers left for you to discover. If you only care to follow the breadcrumbs that lead you from answer to question and more answers. Yesterday is behind us. Tomorrow may never be. Now is what matters. If there is no afterlife, reincarnation, immortal soul, angels playing harps on heavenly clouds to look forward to, we still have today. And we do not have to worry about eternal punishment or boredom forevermore. Every cloud has a silver lining with and without angels. Fancy face infinity without flinching. Question everything and come to your own conclusion. In Likishi. I highlighted a couple of things that I wanted to point out. Amnesia. It's the sort of opposite of what you think. It's the complicated concept, but I'll try to make it simplified. Best explained as you forget to forget. That's what amnesia means. And, In this book, she states people have many past lives, especially if they are old souls. And she was seeking clarification. And I do believe that. There are two sets of past lives for two souls. One reincarnated as one of you before you, and then one reincarnated as you. One reincarnated before you, and then one reincarnates as you. And interesting concept. And she talks about how, as a society, no one will believe that this could turn into a dystopia overnight. They will kill you for taking down their glitzy bars of their self-enslavement prison cell. Prison cells and our cell phones, these black scrying mirrors and devices. That's why I said during the time of that catastrophe, I used it for the betterment of me and for the good and positivity of me, right? I did make a point to post something on our neighborhood Facebook group page, and it was a shit show, let me tell you. I posted something and didn't give a lot of clarification behind my post, and I stirred the pot, really what I did. And it was not intentional that I did that. I posted that I was tired of the way Entergy was handling our power outage. And as I posted that, and as I contacted them, and I have actually written a letter, which I will be sending via email and also mailing it to their corporate office. I come to understand that when a damage happens, they have to go out and assess the damage. They have to get crews put in place, right? They do. And then when they have out of town crews come in, right? They have to meet up with those out of town crews. And then they have to go through a training session for those crews, because some of those crews have never worked on Texas power lines and things have changed and the technology is different, right? So with that being said, you've already lost 4 days, right? So I made it a point to say something on social media, and a lot of people had a lot of hateful, hurtful things, which didn't bother me because I have tough skin. But it's the point of I should have clarified further, and I did in my own personal page. I posted, but not on the neighborhood page. So one of the ladies in the neighborhood page, who's an admin, she said, I'm going to leave this post up. Typically, we take these type of posts down, but I'm going to leave this up so that in the future, people know what to post and what not to post on social media. And I was like, true enough. Yeah, I don't care about what these people have to say about me, because they don't know me. They don't know anything about me. And to me, and I'm not putting myself up on a pedestal, but the average person really would not understand half the things that I know. And they wouldn't take the time to do it because they're so caught up in their illusion. They're so caught up in their day-to-day grind that they really don't know who they are, and they don't know what this is, right? So my point to say that is that I use that for the betterment of myself and to push a reset button, because it's very humbling for you to have to go through something devastating and to have a loss of power and your home, damaged, and things in a disarray, and you're not being able to use the phone, you're not being able to get out of your neighborhood because the trees are down, things are blocked, power lines are down. It's a very humbling experience, people. And I know that there's going to be more things that come in the future, that this was just a precursor. This was a cakewalk compared to what's coming. And most people don't understand that, This is the time where we need to be focusing on ascension. And I see that within our community, especially in the indigenous, autochthonous, and for you, those who still identify as being African American or Black, which you are not, for those people who, I'll say Black, the problem with our community is that we have a lot of backbiting. And the scrying mirrors, these phones and these tablets and TVs and laptops perpetuate that. They give energy to that. And we're bad about doing that within our community. We are powerful beings, and we don't understand the power that we possess. And I dare say some of us do, but they hoard that information and they keep it and they don't share it. And so my thing is I have come to a point in my life, in my 50s, that I'm not for bullshit or foolishness, and I don't like being around a lot of people. You will never see a bunch of people coming in and out of my home. This is my personal space, and I don't know what kind of energy you have, and I don't want you to transfer that in my home. And I truly believe that. So if I invite you over to my house or invite you into my home, believe that it is for a purpose and is for a reason, and that I respect you, and I think highly and enough of you to have you to come into my home. First off, and then secondly, that I'm conversing with you, right? My point in making this video today was I wanted to thank everyone who reached out to me. I wanted to just give you a little smidget of this book that I'm finishing up. A lot of things I highlighted and flagged and tabbed in this book. And as you go through, you'll see I've done highlights and all throughout this book. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've highlighted and wrote. I have stickers in here and notes and things like that I put that I was relating to what she was stating, and I felt true. And, some of the things, there was a few typos, and I kind of went in and changed them. But I want to point out a few things, and then I'm going to get off here because I'm not going to make this video long-winded. I just wanted to jump on really quickly. Now, we discussed the cell phones and the scrying mirrors and how it's a prism. It's a connection to the shadow world. And most people don't know that. They look at it as a phone and it's, oh, I can get on social media and I can pay my bills and I can call my mother or my significant other or my sister or my best friend, and I can go shopping. I can do apps and buy this and buy that. But they don't understand what they're doing is they're cataloging all of this information about you. They can take a picture of your face. They can check your temperature. They can check your bodily rhythm to see if you are vibing high or if you're vibing low. They have put all this in plain sight in movies. We were watching a movie the other night, me and Devin. We were watching last night, Jupiter Ascending. They had the reptilians in there. And I'm like, to my son, I said, it would be just hilarious to me to find that these reptilians that they have in costume are really not costume. They are showing you them true selves, their true form on set. Like they're actually playing themselves in real life, right? And my husband was like, yeah, I guess we could, yeah. I'm like, yeah, because these creatures exist. There are things that most people know nothing about. That we're not the only intelligent life forms on this planet. And I dare say the way that we've ran this motherfucker in the ground, we are not that intelligent. And we have beings that are over us, whether you believe it or not. I don't care if you don't believe. You have to do your research. You have to come to your own conclusion. I'm just simply sharing my assessment of the situation, right? So she talks about poison has to be sweet or no one will take it. Poison is sweet and enticing enough that many consider it's worthy to die for. But the bottom line is that it has to be informed choice. How many can truly think for themselves, resist peer pressure, and jump off the popular bandwagon? How many of you can do that? So I was highlighting things that kind of resonated with me. And so another thing that I highlighted here, and this is supposed to be a fictional read, though she clearly says it is the truth in some parallel world. She could have been shadow walking or dream walking and lived this existence and collected this information herself, right? This really could have been happening to her in real time, and she's documenting this. I'm just saying. Humans are hardwired to look for security. The reptilian brain, back here, kept us in a state of fear, reinforced by religion, politics, philosophical doctrines that breed servitude. Hopium, like opium, is the essential to endear the sheep to the corral and to put them in autopilot, filing towards the slaughterhouse. She nailed it. I agree with her. Question history, question reality, question yourself, question everything. But if you settle for answers too quickly, using it as your go-to comfort food, I guarantee you, you will never find the truth. The truth is stranger than fiction, you guys. These things that they put on TV, you're saying, oh, it's just a movie. No, it's a documentary of our existence in this town. It's truth. And it says, everyone was losing their mind while I was curled up in the Chase Lounge reading a paperback. So this is what I am not a Luddite. I like to use technology, but not to be used by it. We are becoming too dependent on it. Society cannot function without it. Me not having power for 6 days and having to drive into town once they cleared the roads, to get cell phone service to contact my employer, to check on the family, and my husband to contact his employer while we're still going through getting the trees off the house and things like that. It was an ordeal. And not having the technology actually was very peaceful. I'm going to be honest with you. It says, during a widespread power outage the other day, I called the bank. Everything was at a standstill. All the staff was probably twirling their thumbs, not knowing what to do. They have no access to any data, and life came to a halt. There was chaos in the stock exchange. Chaos in the sense that nothing happened. We could not withdraw any money nor pay with credit card. No internet, no social media, no computer games, no movies, no music. Everyone was losing their mind. Meanwhile, while I was curled up in the Chase Lounge reading a paperback, that's exactly what I was doing. I had downloaded music on my phone so I could listen to a couple playlists. I could listen to a couple of podcasts, creepypasta that I go to sleep at night and listen to. Shout out to Lilith and Donovan Dredd, because I listen to them. The Research Guy, Camiro, Chief Red Wolf, Aboriginal Power, Woodward Entertainment, Redacted, The Hill, a lot of different folks. Sean Ryan, Joe Rogan, Graham Hickok, Eric Van Daniken. Yeah, those people. I have podcasts that I download on my phone and I listen to all the time. So I was fine for 6 days. It says, nothing comes from nothing. My stories were all seeds at first, but found fertile ground in my head. The seeds are as real as you and me. I am the midwife bringing them to life in their current form. I did not make anything up. In other words, they are not science fiction. And she says here, now this caught my attention and I am going to contact her about this. Like she said, this is fiction. But from my standpoint, what she says here is, the Jews see themselves as God's chosen people. I have to be very careful not to be branded as an anti-Semite. Although the meaning of Semite has been hijacked by the Zionists when it's a dictionary defined as member of any number of peoples of ancient southwestern Asia, including the Akkadians, Phoenicians, Hebrews, and Arabs, or descendants of these people. And it says people of color, these people were melanated. Not being anti-Semitic when I say that, but if you look at the original people, the original bloodline, the O positive and O negative people, they come from that lineage. The bodies, the avatars come from that lineage, right? Most people do not know, and I'll give you a little tea and I'm going to get off here. Most people don't know that when Noah had sons, he had 4 sons, not just 3. It was Ham, Shem, Japheth, I think that's how you pronounce his name. And the other one always, I can never pronounce his name. It starts with an A. Is it Akashanidi? It's a very weird name to me, and it's hard for me to say. But he came later down the road, and most people don't know that. See, they think he only had 3 sons. He had 4 sons. Okay, and this one was akin to the giants. Right? Go do your research on it. But I have a book, and it's back here. I'll have to make sure I tag you guys on it or read it and show you the cover. But my point is that the lineage from Shem is the American Indian, the Negro, my generation, my generation, my people. See, and most people think that Ham is the progenitor of the black race. No. Ham is the progenitor of one of the dark-skinned races, the Africans. which is not the same as the Negro race. I am of the autochthonous or Negro race, which is Hebraic, Hebrews, and we were the original people of the Americas here. There's too many people, light skinned, because I don't like to say pale or white. I say light skin, that have talked about it, that are from universities. They're speaking out about it because now they realize, the bones that they've been digging up, especially the giants, they're of the Negroid race. They may have you to believe that they are from the tall white giants. Okay. Yeah, there were some here too. But the thing is with Tartary is that we were all interconnected. We were all living together. And that history was erased for a purpose based on the last reset. Okay. So when I read this, she was stating that we came later, that the pale races were in fact here first. And that's not true. No, I mean, that's in her fiction, in her book. But I mean, and this is her book, she wrote it. But I didn't agree with that. So I circled that and I was like, I'll make sure I mention that to her. That, I like the book, but I disagree with certain things, certain aspects. It was a great read. It was an easy read. It also says that she did this. She said this part, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to jump off here. It says, I am surprised that they didn't purge this information from the encyclopedia. But those who control the past seem to derive some perverted pleasure in testing it. We can find the sporadic truths buried in the mountains of bullshits, so much hidden in plain sight. How many still have eyes to see? And she's absolutely right in that set. She said, who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. George Orwell, 1984, which I have that novel over here. Earth-shattering revelation in the book right from the get-go. The Great or Russian or Evil Tartary was, according to the British Encyclopedia History edition of 1771, the biggest state in the world. This enormous state has disappeared without a trace from all subsequent editions of Britannica. And that's the narrative they want to paint from 1771. We know that the reset occurred in 1728 or 728, around that time, and they added 1,000 years. Thanks to Mr. Arthur Kessler, 13 Tribes, explaining that. Benjamin Friedman, Facts Are Facts, he talks about the race, the beings that are behind this bullshit on the planet. They claim they are something, but they are not. And that's true. And so for me, when you say Jew, that is a made-up word. It's a new narrative after the reset. But the true people of Shem are Judean, not Jewish. They like to, bring up things to mislead us and to keep us chasing their tails. And that's why it's important for you to build your own library and for you to read and you to understand what you're reading and decipher what you're reading. I like to read about, this is the Russian history of Tartary, but the whole world was at one point Tartarian. And that's what people don't understand. It was a period in time. We are the Republic. And another little T, the original autochthonous people who were dark-skinned were Republican. Democrats, and I have to agree with Chief, are fascist, Zionist, socialists who want to do nothing but enslave and destroy you and keep you controlled and have you own nothing and give you very little and you be grateful for it. So, I'm here to bring awareness to topics and to read books and to talk about things that we've researched. Myself, my sons, Alex and Devin, sometimes he jumps on here with me too. But everyone has to come to their own conclusions. I'm going to read this part and then I'm going to jump off of here. On this page, she says, our history books, the Bibles, and everything we taught in schools are here from the MSM, are only good as bedtime stories for children, or maybe not even that. There was a mud flood, mass genocide a few hundred years ago, and she's absolutely correct, it was. Tartaria itself fell off the map. Literally, they hit it. But some part of the empire on those continents fared a little bit better. Those who were lucky enough to live to tell the tale thought it was the end of the world. Then they brought into the reset, right? So, the last thing I'm going to say